Hey guys, what is up? It is Snitchery. How you doing? Let's address the elephant in the room. I sound like I died 12 days ago. I sound like that freaking squeaky toy from Toy Story. My voice has been going in and out for the past like week and a half, and I've been wanting to film this video every single day since my last upload when I asked you guys which of the two you wanted to see between 50s and 70s. And today was just the final straw, okay? If you really can't take my voice in this video, I completely understand. I apologize, there's nothing I can do about it. I've waited around for a week and I don't want to wait anymore. Today we are getting groovy, ladies and gents. We are going back to the 70s. This is my first decades tutorial in this catfish makeup series. I've done tutorials in different countries thus far, but I kind of wanted to do 70s because I feel like 70s does not get enough love. Like, I'll put up a couple inspiration images that I found on the internet when I was looking up 70s makeup. A lot of it is really interesting and really special, and I feel like people don't really talk about it. I think it's kind of bookended in between the 60s, which is of course like Twiggy, which is actually what I was going to do today. I was going to do late 60s, early 70s, but I decided to say that for another day. But I think it's bookended between Twiggy's iconic style and then like the iconic style of the 80s, and people just kind of forget the 70s because they are a bit more natural. But as you can see from these posters or advertisements from the 70s, we're going to be getting into some color today, which I rarely do. So I'm very excited. I'm going to be drinking my beet juice. Get rid of this frog in my throat somehow. If you've never seen my face before and you're interested in seeing my face again, feel free to subscribe down below. We would love to have you. I promise in every other video I'm infinitely more charming than this because I don't sound like Selma from The Simpsons. We're going so fast, literally. We've gained like I think 50,000 subscribers in the past couple weeks. What the fuck? And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for joining me on this little video journey. It means the world. To anybody who's made it this far in this video with my throat, thank you. Last thing, liking these videos helps me out so much. The views on my YouTube have been crazy and it's keeping me so motivated, and I really think I saw such a turnaround when I started asking you guys to like the video if at any point you liked it. So yeah, hit it with a like if you like these sort of this sort of content. Helps me out a bunch. Okay, no more talking, let's get into it. And I've already done my skincare, but I'm gonna go ahead in with my Milk Makeup Hydro Grip while I'm chatting. When I was researching the 70s, I kind of had to do this differently than I've done past makeup tutorials, because usually I'm able to follow other creators. For example, in my French tutorial and my Korean tutorial, I just watched a lot of French and Korean creators, makeup artists, YouTubers, regular girls, read blogs of people who actually live in those countries, things like that. It's a little more difficult to research, I think, period makeup, just because you don't have like I mean, I do have people in real time. There are obviously people who are alive now that were alive in the 70s and doing makeup. I guess it's much harder to get an accurate representation of what was actually going on because you're not seeing it in real time. So what I've sussed out is that we basically have like two predominant looks, and if any of you guys are 70s experts, in all seriousness, feel free to correct me down below on anything I do. I think it would be really interesting. I'm certainly not an expert on the 70s, so I'm really just going by like historical accounts I've read, a lot of these vintage advertisements. I also watch some YouTubers who are a little bit more knowledgeable in the period than I am, but from what it seems like, we can either go the very natural, like sort of beachy, really tanned route, or we can go really bright and really poppy and really like pastel and colorful and shimmery. Basically, we can either be like a beach babe or we can go to the disco, and I couldn't decide, okay? I couldn't decide. They both sound fun. So we're gonna go for a mix between the two. I heard your guys' criticism, okay, in my last tutorial, that it was annoying that I had my hair covering my face, so I moved my hair back. Okay, we have a headband today. I'm gonna zoom you guys in and let's do it. Okay, it looks like I'm doing a Milk advertisement. I'm not. I have my Milk makeup headband on from a trip I just went on with them. However, the first product does happen to be Milk. It is their Milk foundation stick, their Flex foundation stick. This is actually kind of old, but I recently found it, and I feel like it gives me the most skin-esque look, if that makes any sense at all. I'm gonna go ahead and buff that in. I wanna talk about, this is a complete non sequitur to 70s makeup. I wanna say, if you get under eye bag filler, you might get really puffy eyes in the morning, because that's what happened to me. For 23 hours out of the day, I really, really like my under eye bag filler. I feel like it made a big difference. I feel like it makes my face look more cohesive, more put together. I have to use less concealer. But right when I wake up for about an hour or two, I get crazy under eye bags. No, they're not under eye bags. They're not bags. I get crazy under eye puffiness. I guess because I filled in all the hollow space, now when my eyes get puffy, they puff out, which they never did before. So that's something I'm learning to deal with. It's kind of been, I mean, it's been funny. It's been sort of interesting. It's not something I expected to happen, and I don't regret it. But just FYI, if you watch that video and you're interested in getting the procedure done, you might have puffy eyes. My lips literally stay chapped on this channel. So for these kind of tutorials, it's gonna be a little less following step by step of creators and more trying to capture the look of a certain decade with products that you guys might have as well. So I guess we'll find the fine line together as we do this series. I definitely don't want it to become a thing of just like me using modern makeup to copy like the vague style of a decade. I definitely still want to use the same types of products or adhere to the way that they apply them as much as possible, stuff like that. So I am going to be using some products that I saw, or similar products to what I saw in advertisements. And other than that, I am going to be trying to just copy the aesthetic that I was seeing in all these photos. I am going to take a little bit of my CoverGirl Advanced Radiance powder here on a tiny little sponge, and I'm just gonna set right underneath my eye, right where it creases, just so it doesn't do that. How many times am I gonna edit out me clearing my throat in this video? I'm really trying, guys. Now next, I'm gonna do something I've never actually tried to do before. One of the defining, oh my god, the way I'm sitting is hurting me so bad. One of the defining features of the 70s is a thin brow. Now, I definitely don't have thick brows. I have pretty thin brows to begin with, but I am gonna try to thin them out even further. Now, because I do have pretty naturally thin brows, I didn't think it was necessary to block out my entire brow. It's also like my least favorite thing to do in makeup, so if I can avoid it, I will. So instead, what I'm gonna do is actually just take concealer and brush it up into the bottom of my brow. I don't know if you guys will be able to see what this is doing. So basically I'm putting concealer all up underneath my brow and I'm brushing it up into my eyebrow. Now I've never done this before, like I said, but in my head what I'm hoping this does is sort of conceal the hair on the bottom of my brow so that when I create a straight line, I can draw it a little bit higher than my natural eyebrow actually sits and sort of create an illusion so that you don't really notice the bottom hairs on my brow. I'm sure I did not make this up. I'm sure 10,000 other people have done this as well, but hey, it came out of the demons in my own brain today. Then I'm gonna take that same brush and my CoverGirl powder and I'm just gonna pack it on underneath my brow just to make it even more seamless. So hopefully you can see between these two that this is gonna offer us a much thinner, softer, lighter template to start this 70s brow up. So first I'm gonna be taking this Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil. This is in the color 5, pretty dark color, so I'm just gonna use this to carve out my brow. Now in some 70s ads I did see a really big natural bushy brow that was in, but because I don't have a big natural bushy brow and that's usually the brow that I do fake, I thought this would be a little bit more interesting because it's kind of unusual for me. So I'm just gonna take that color through my brow, keeping it as thin as possible, and then towards the end of my brows, rather than going up like I normally would, I'm actually gonna take it down so that it looks even more natural. I'm gonna go back in with my sponge and my CoverGirl powder, and I'm just gonna go ahead and powder around my brow, trying to make it even thinner. This is the Arches and Halos little Auburn Precise brow pencil here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and take that through my brow hairs. And over on the ends here, I'm gonna be drawing lines up so that it kind of messes up that perfect line and it looks a little bit more hair-like. I'm gonna go ahead and do my other brow and I'll be back. Next is bronzer. Now this is a really, really important step for the 70s. Farrah Fawcett and co were always like super bronzed, always super sun-kissed, tanned. I don't tan because it's really bad for you. I mean, live your life. I'm not the one telling you what to do. I'm not your mom, but you know. But because I don't tan, we're gonna get to do a lot of bronzing today, which is fun because normally I'm not a huge bronzer person. 9 times out of 10, I just sort of do my contour and keep it moving, add some blush. But today, we're getting bronze. So this is the Milk Matte Bronzer in the shade Blaze. I'm gonna take this kind of big, fluffy Milani brush here and just dip into the top of the product, going in. Get up in my forehead, move my headband down. But it's literally so easy to do this. This has been like my favorite method of adding color back into my face. It's kind of time consuming if you only pick up a little bit of pigment, which is what I do. But at the end of the day, it's so worth it. I'm gonna add a little bit more bronzer where blush would go because this is more of a bronzy decade than a blush decade. Sometimes I take it across my nose just to add a little bit more color, and even down along my neck and add a little bit of color down there. I'm gonna take my standard nose contour brush, but I'm actually also gonna dip that into this matte bronzer and just take it up the bridge of my nose. Next, I'm gonna go into this NYX Sweet Cheeks little matte blush. In some of the pictures from the 70s, they were wearing a lot of blush, and in some of the pictures from the 70s, they were not wearing seemingly any blush. So I guess maybe it changed throughout the decade. So again, I'm gonna be sitting right in the middle. I knocked over my beet juice. I'm gonna be taking a tiny amount of that product and just tapping it on. And then I'm also gonna be taking it across my nose so that it doesn't really look like I'm wearing blush. It just kind of looks like I'm like sun-kissed, maybe a little sunburnt. And with that, I think our base is done, which is very exciting because that means it's eye time. So for eyes, we have basically 3, well, I'll say 4 color options. The colors I've seen in pretty much all of the ads from the 70s that you guys saw at the beginning were like a pastel-y blue, a pastel-y emerald green, and a pastel purple, like a lilac lavender, and then also a lot of neutrals. So going the neutral route would be a cop-out, even though I am a little frightened by color. So instead, we are gonna go the purple route. Now in terms of the type of makeup they used in the 70s, there were a lot of crayons, there were a lot of like single shadows, like I'll be using a couple of these NARS single shadows. Those were in a lot of advertisements. There were cream eyeshadows as well. Now I'm going to be using eyeshadow primer. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow primer. I kind of vacillated on whether I wanted to use primer for these tutorials or not, because primer is sort of one of those tools that it really does just make things look better. Like it just does. For my countries tutorial, I pretty much follow those as much as I can verbatim because I'm really watching people in real time do it. And also in both of those tutorials I've done for past decades, they've not been eyeshadow focused. But again, let me know for tutorials like this if you'd rather I skipped the eyeshadow primer because it's arguably more like historically accurate. Well, maybe not arguably. I don't think they had it. Maybe they did, but I don't think so. Or would you rather I actually showed you guys how to achieve this style as best as possible? I'm really leaning towards the latter. I mean, I think it would be interesting to do like really historically accurate tutorials, and maybe I could do that sometime. I want to create a really good look that you guys can imitate, but I also want to be knowledgeable in the decade, and I want to maybe teach you guys something new. And if at any point I can be historically accurate in a way that I think would be helpful to you guys, I'll let you know. I think that's the route I'm gonna go, but definitely let me know in the comments your thoughts because I am making these ultimately for you. Now, first shadow we're going in with is this Sugar Pill Purple right here. We're starting big, okay? But we are gonna be starting with a big brush as well, which gives us a little wiggle room. So this is just a really big ColourPop brush, F12. I'm just gonna pat it right onto my lid. I'm not bringing it up yet, though judging by the style, we are gonna have to do that. I love Sugar Pill shadows. I have not used them on my channel, I don't think, because they are more colorful. So I do use them on my Instagram, and then I'm just gonna slightly blend it out with the other side of the brush. Okay, I'm actually getting kind of excited because I feel like I look a little bit more 70s already. Okay, with that purple on, I kind of don't even want to touch it because it looks really pretty. We of course have to push it much further. So I'm gonna be taking this little NARS single shadow in Strata. This is like a really pretty shimmery purple. And I'm gonna take it on my pinky, just with my hand, drag it along my eye, just across the lid, not bringing that shimmer up yet. I've never used this shadow before. It's pretty. It's very subtle. It just has tiny little, I guess they're gold flecks, almost green toned gold, but it definitely helped deepen up the color on our eye. I think give us a lot more dimension. Next, I'm going in with another shimmer because I feel like this has to be extra. This is another NARS single shadow. This is in the shade Lunar, and just packing that onto my eye. This has much larger pink flecks. I think it'll give us that shimmery reflect that we're really looking for. Definitely pumped it up to 11. How did this happen? How did I do that? Now I'm gonna take the shade Fresca right here. This is out of the Lime Crime Venus XL palette. I'm gonna take that on the same fluffy brush. Sue me. What I've learned from following makeup tutorials from other countries is that they use like 4 brushes in their makeup tutorials. Americans are seemingly obsessed with changing their brushes with every step. You don't need to. This has a tiny little bit of purple. We're gonna be blending into purple. It's fine. And I'm just gonna go ahead and bring that color up a little further towards my brow bone, just so it's all really light and blended out. In the 60s, and this is part of the reason why I decided to split them up, it was much more popular to have a really defined crease, whereas in the 70s, everything seemed much more gradual. It was more of a wash of color, whereas in the 60s, it was like, here's my eyelid. Look at the color on my eyelid, you know what I mean? So we don't want any lines. We want it to look like this purple just sort of exists on our eyelid naturally, as silly as that sounds. Hi, editing Snitchery here. In this video, I forgot to mention that I used a brow gel that made my eyebrows look really whack for a second. It all came together at the end, but ignore them for now, okay? Okay, next I'm gonna be going into the ABH NORVINA collection. This shade right here, that purple. Define my crease just the tiniest bit. Now this is a different shade of purple than the rest of our eyes, so we're gonna be keeping it pretty subtle. In the 70s, it seems like if any color was brought down underneath the eye, it was only on the outer half of the eye. So I'm gonna go ahead in with my Sugar Pill Purple shadow and just dust it underneath my eye, just on the lower third maybe, just so you do get a hint of that color. And I'm being so gentle and so subtle while I'm brushing this color down. I am gonna take a little bit more of that purple shade and bring it up a little bit higher, because on a lot of the tutorials in these adverts, their eyeshadow goes all the way up to their brow bone. So I do definitely want to like make sure that you can see mine. All right, we've got some purple. We got some purple going on. I feel like my skin is looking like kind of sad. So I'm gonna go in with my, I don't know how you pronounce this, Farcelli Rose Gold Skin Mist. I really don't know what this does, but I feel like it does make my skin look a little more hydrated, so. All right, that feels and looks so much better. Okay, next is mascara. Now the 70s is all about mascara, okay? So I'm gonna go in with my Bad Gal Bang mascara from Benefit. In every single advert I saw, mascara was like the thing. Like you'd look at it and be like, oh my God, her mascara. Even when it wasn't an ad for mascara, you'd still look at it and be like, oh my God, her mascara. Definitely real noticeable because they're a staple this decade. Now I'm gonna be going into my top lashes and I've lost my mascara somewhere and I'm really gonna coat those upper lashes as well. The 60s had those big, you know, like those twiggy lashes, but even in the 70s, lashes were it, girl. Now in the 70s, they did not use strip lashes the way they did in the 60s. Do I even want to mess with them? Do I even want to do individual lashes? I think I do. All right, you guys see that one? It just makes it look a little bit more flared, a little bit more, I don't know. I hate putting on individual lashes. I feel like they're super annoying, but I am gonna just stick a couple on. And then I'm gonna take another one of the NARS shadows. This is the shade Isla Bonita. And I'm just gonna put that right in my inner corner and also right underneath my brow bone. This I saw was hugely popular, having a shimmery shade underneath the brow. It's literally bringing me back to middle school. I kind of live. I don't know. I think that's kind of iconic. Now for lips, seem much more fashionable for them to have a sheen and to be a little glossy rather than matte. So I'm gonna go into my HAUS Laboratories lip liner in the shade Rule. My lips don't really have a defined edge. One of the reasons I always overline is because on my lips for some reason, like it sounds so weird to say, but it's kind of hard to find where you line your lips. So I just fell into overlining like easily. Like you'll see down at the bottom, it almost looks like my lip goes in. It doesn't actually. I have volume right here. You can see the shadow, but the pigment doesn't extend that far. So when I overline, I'm literally just matching the volume so it doesn't look like I have like puffy skin around my lip. I'm gonna take this ColourPop Lippie Stick in the shade Dream Date. Happy Valentine's Day. It's always such a relief when I'm editing when I do my lips, which is like always last because I hate staring at my chapped lips when I edit. As much as you guys hate staring at them while you're watching, I hate it more, I promise. Blot all that sheen off. Because what we're gonna do next is go back in with our lip pencil and I'm gonna define the edges of my lips. Just by bringing in that lip liner color, only the center has that really bright nude. This is a very similar color to the colors and I saw a lot of the advertisements, but a lot of times they were really glossy. So I'm gonna be taking the HAUS Laboratories lip gloss in the shade Venus and just slapping that on. Now in the 70s, I saw a lot of dewy skin. So rather than going in with a traditional blinding highlight, I'm gonna go in with my Franken Body Illuminator, Frank Body. I don't actually know how to pronounce it. It's sort of like a paste almost, like it doesn't fall out, it's very thick. And what I like to do is just take it on a highlighter brush. This is actually the Jaclyn Hill highlighter brush. Dust it everywhere. There's no shimmer, there's no glitter. It just kind of creates a healthy glow. It's very like sun-kissed cutie. I don't know. This has become one of my favorite products very quickly. You can use it with a brush or with your fingers. And I think as far as makeup goes, guys, we're done. Let me go ahead and style my hair and I'll be back. Okay guys, I'm back. Let me zoom you guys out. Let me be totally transparent and real and honest and say that before I styled my hair, I wasn't feeling this one, guys. Something about this type of makeup is just really hard for me to get my head around. I don't know why. I think it's the lack of like definition. I always feel like I have to have one big pop when I'm doing my makeup, and 70s makeup, even though they use a lot of bright colors, isn't about that. It's about being bronzed and weirdly, despite the fact that we have purple over our eyes, looking kind of natural. You're not gonna get a wing. You're not gonna get like big eyelashes. You're not gonna get big defined overlined lips. It's all just sort of washes of these really pretty soft colors. I don't know what it is, but something does tell me that you guys will like this makeup. I don't know why. I think a lot of times when I do sort of softer makeup on myself, you guys really dig it, so I would not be surprised if some of you are fans of this, but it's so diametrically opposed to my normal style that I think it's a little tough for me. However, I'm also so open to the fact that I really don't know what looks most flattering on me. I really only know what looks most familiar, so you guys let me know if any aspects of this style you think look good on me, if you think I should keep any aspects of this style around. The brows, the single lashes rather than the strip lashes, the lips being a little glossier, a little juicier than normal. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments what video you want to see in this series. I think next I'm doing goth makeup, which will be fun because I'll be able to, like my other tutorials, follow step by step and do it as accurately as possible as told by real-time goths. So yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know how I did. Thank you so much for watching. Hit this video with a like if you liked it. And thank you for being my friend today, and always, I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah. Bye guys!